Yeah, Tuareg are a very good side, a very, very good side. I think they've had a difficult moment in the last 5 games, but I think when you watch their games against Safi, you watch their games against Zamamra, where they drew, you watch their game against Mas, where they lost. Really, in all honesty, these are games where they were very unfortunate to lose. Well coached, good organizational forms. You know, sometimes will be a 5-man defense line, sometimes a 4-man defense line, sometimes a 4-man defense line that can easily adopt a 5-man defense line. But of course, very resolute with a lot of physicality, very direct, extremely vertical in their build-up from the box. They look for either Zra, who plays up front, and sometimes can play Chalal off him with very, very good movement. Dahak is having a very, very good season for them and is extremely dangerous moving off the line and from the wide areas into central positions where he can shoot with his left and his right foot. The physicality and the speed of Zra is very important, but whether they play Zra or the number 80, Dae, they're very, very aggressive with the attack. So we have to be ready. We're playing against a very good team. I think the log position doesn't reflect the quality that they have. And of course, we have to win every single match as Wydad. We know we're playing against a good team. But we also know we are a very good team. And our form in the last 8 matches shows that we've made a lot of very, very big improvements as a team, and we will be ready for tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a very difficult last 2 weeks, I must tell you, because normally with us, we give ourselves 24 hours after every result, because in big organizations, in big sporting organizations, in tennis, in basketball, in football, you don't have time to absorb a result. You've got to move on as quickly as you possibly can. And this is what we try to do. We try to move on as quickly as we possibly can. And so against Tetuan, we knew we had won the game, and we had a very, very good feeling. And we needed that feeling because I still believe, and personally as a coach, I have not recovered from the result of Mas, you know, because I think as a team for 80 minutes we played very, very well. I think it was one of the best performances this season. I do think that when I look at our team and this season, maybe that is the one game we deserve, maybe that and Meknes. Maybe those are the 2 games where we deserve to lose. Meknes, we were poor throughout the match. We didn't really compete. We didn't play well. And Mas, we made a lot of very, very bad decisions. And we made a lot of mistakes that of course cost us a very, very good performance. I thought the players were amazing against Mas. For the first 13 minutes, we were excellent before the red card. And then we showed very good spirit, and you can see that we've got some very strong players with good leadership, like Jamal and Hamza and Mohamed Rai. These players are very important for us. And we were very competitive. You know, 10 versus 11, we created still more chances than the opposition. We dominated the ball. We were strong in the duels. Our rest defense was excellent. And then I think also, you know, I made a few mistakes with the subs because my thinking was to bring in some fresh legs to help the players and the boys that were on the pitch. And instead, I think we lost the game from that point, you know. And for me as a coach, first I take it on myself, and that's why I don't think I've personally recovered from that result. And even though we've had a good result after that with Tetuan, where I thought against Mas we played better than we played against Tetuan. Tetuan, I thought first half we were very good. Maybe we should have scored a few more goals, which is probably one of also our issues. But I thought against Mas we were excellent and very unfortunate to lose the game. And I think that's why I'm still a little bit heavier about that result. One, not only for us as a team, because sometimes as a team you need these type of results to strengthen you, to pull you guys together and to understand what they would call in business, you feel the room, and when you feel the room, you understand you play for Wydad, and you understand that at Wydad you can't lose matches. The only way to feel that and to understand that for players that come from France or maybe players that didn't play for Wydad before is to lose matches and feel what happens when you lose matches. And you understand that when you lose a match at a club like ours, it's a national catastrophe. It's a major disaster. And when you win games, it's only normal. But you've got to learn that. And how do you learn that? Is by losing games. So sometimes it is part of the process. And we've got to allow, like you sometimes allow your child when it's born to fall when they start to learn how to walk. Before they can run, they've got to be able to walk. And before they walk, they've got to be able to crawl. And the only way that they know that they can walk is when they start crawling and they start to pick themselves up and start to measure their steps. They then fall a little bit. Yes, in moments it's painful. Yes, in moments there's tears and it's a little bit difficult to accept, but sometimes this is part of the process. It's part of the process of growing up, maturing, and becoming a better team. And so we have to go through these moments. But the most important thing in big clubs is you don't have too many of those moments, because you don't have the luxury to be able to be babysitted and to be caressed and to be taken care of when you fall and you get bruised. But okay, now we look at that as a part of the season that says, can we bounce back? And we've bounced back. But we also have to be very, very careful, because part to sometimes the defeat is to be overly critical. And sometimes when you are overly critical, you can destroy what is very, very good. And what is very good for me is when you look at the last 8 games, and these are facts, the last 8 games, we have lost only 1 match. And that's the truth. That's not me trying to protect my players or protect the team, but the team has done exceptionally well this season, particularly after a very difficult start to the season where we all know what our problems were. We all know why we had a difficult start to the season. And as the leader, as the coach, I can't speak about those, because sometimes it sounds like you're making excuses. And at big clubs, there is no time to make excuses. What matters is how you play, and that for me is very important. I think sometimes we forget that we have to play like a big club, because when you don't have the result at a big club, you still have the performance. And it is the performance that carries you through and sustains your status as a big club for many, many years. When you lose at a big club without the performance, you don't have the results, and then you've lost everything. And when you lose everything as a big club, now nothing ever speaks to you about being a big club. But what we're trying to do is create a culture. We're trying to create an identity that will speak for us and that will say we are a big club. Even when we don't win games, we have to show that we are a big club. We have to show we care. We have to show we love the club. We have to show that we understand what it means to wear the Wydad jersey. And this is the type of culture we are trying to create that says, of course, winning is very important. But winning a certain way is probably just as important. And so we've got to focus on making sure that we're a little bit more consistent with our performances, the quality of our performances, and also the emotional attachment, the feelings towards the jersey, the feelings towards playing for this club is probably one of the biggest challenges that I think as a coaching staff we face at Wydad. Yeah, we have most of the players back. Mubarak is back, so that's a very good sign. And so he comes in at a time where we need him a lot, but we have to see how it goes, because the team was very good against Tetuan. In open play, we defended very well. Our high press was good and generated a lot of chances. We were very aggressive with the second ball, and I think just generally we controlled a lot of phases in the game, even though we struggled a little bit in the second half with the diagonal balls, especially towards Bushta. But that overload, we solved it very well, and I think in the midfield, Sakh and Mutaraji did very very well, but Mubarak has been very impressive for us. And so he's someone that, of course, comes into the team and strengthens us and gives us good options. We have possibilities also to see, because Enzo is back, so we are happy to have Enzo back also, because Enzo gives us a lot of options with different positions. Enzo is a player that I believe can play different positions. You can play as a 6 maybe if you have real serious problems, and even though as a 6 you'll probably be a little bit further from the box, and these are not the qualities that he has, but he's a player that has very good defensive integrity. He's got very good intensity without the ball and can play in that position, can play as an 8. Because his ability to carry the ball and to drive from deep positions is very good. Can play as a 7, as a 11, and these are his natural, I think, positions. Can play as a 10 and can play even as a 9, 9.5. So a player like Enzo, having him back is very important for us. Beng Tip comes back from suspension, which is also important. But generally, that is the squad. And of course, then we have to make decisions with the players that we leave out. And you can be rest assured that while I am here as the Wydad coach, my number one priority and the responsibility is to protect this club. Protect this club with my life, and try to make sure that everybody understands that it's a football club that goes beyond the meaning of a football club. There's a lot of sporting connotations, because this is why it's Wydad's sporting club. You know, there's different sporting codes, and that means there's different affiliations, different people that are attached to this club. And attached to this club means that there are families that are attached to this club, from people who are just involved in the club. And then there's more than 5 million supporters for this club. And that means more than 5 million families that are attached to the results of this club. And then there's the club itself that has prestige and pedigree worldwide. And so the damage that is caused when we play or we train as if we know we can be somewhere else, or we play and we train as if we believe we are better than being at a football club like Wydad, that for me is just not going to be good enough. Every single football player that is at the club has a responsibility that goes with myself and the staff, is to protect this club with everything that we have, each and every single day. And that informs some of the decisions, and sometimes we can't speak about them with the fans. But there will be no football player, and Mas was a very good example with the last 15 minutes. And for me as a coach, I don't make the same mistake twice. And if I make mistakes, believe you me, I have enough people and enough humility to accept my mistakes and to learn from them. And that means I don't repeat them. And so trust, integrity, commitment, the love for what we do and for the club, for me speaks a little bit more than just talent. And that's why players like Mohamed Rai will always play. Rai has got an incredible high amount of counter pressures, defensive integrity, the ability to support the fullback in situations where he finds overloads. And maybe even when the play is switched to the opposite side, he can come into the midfield and give us good possibilities to secure certain zones and areas of the pitch that we don't want to be exploited. And when players do this, plus the ability to get into the box, to create chances and to score, these are the type of players that we want at Wydad. This football club, the fans, they deserve so much more. They've seen so many good players. I, as an opposition coach, I've played against so many good Wydad players that I've seen. And some of the players, Etiad Allah, Jabran, Mutaraji, I mean, these are players that have they wore this club's colors with so much integrity, so much commitment. I remember one of the games where we played. Even Zola had the centre back. He had a bandage in his head and he was bleeding, and he played. This is the type of commitment that this club is used to, and anything less than that will not be good enough. And so this is where we are. This is the part of the environment that we are trying to create. And so, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than what people expect. But also sometimes the things that take a little bit longer are the things that are a little bit better in terms of process, a little bit better in terms of outcomes, a little bit better in terms of sustainability. And you see it today with society. All the best players are players that are able to give you highlights on TikTok. But the reality is, football as a sport has moved a little bit away from that space where it says, I'm an honest game. I'm a game that is 90 minutes, 96 minutes. I'm a game that you have to play from minute 1 with everything you have to minute 96. Football is a game that is a very honest sport. And if we just maintain those feelings towards the sport itself, towards the club, very, very important for me, is these feelings towards the club. If we maintain these, the Wydad that everybody expects will be back sooner rather than later. No, I want to just thank the fans for supporting us during a difficult period. I can just imagine how difficult it was for the fans. But that's why they are not really fans, and majority of the people that love this club are not fans but supporters. There are people who are even prepared to work for this club without getting a salary. And these type of people are people that will support you in good and bad moments. And they always say that the best time to show that you really love somebody is in difficult moments. I say to the players all the time, I could have chosen a different club. I could have chosen to go to any other club that gave me offers, but I chose Wydad. Not because of anything else except the love that this club showed me when I was a rival coach. So this love is not important if you do not pay back and show a level of deep appreciation, because it's in the difficult moments when you could have gone to a club that is in a much better situation, with more stability, with better environment, more stable in terms of the board and the structure and the processes around the club. It's easier to make those type of decisions. But when you come into a project that I think, even for me, that gives you the best possibilities because of the board, the president, who I feel have been the best towards me and the staff since we've arrived. The best possibilities to succeed because you've got influence on which type of players have to come in. And of course, even though you make mistakes in one or two markets, but you see how players like Cassius and Mohamed Rai have come into the club and have really given the club a big boost. And so you can be generally satisfied. And even though you have to work a little bit better in this mercato to try to strengthen the team with players that are a little bit better than what we have. And that is also going to be very difficult because the general technical floor of the club has increased incredibly. And so now you have to look for what we call ceiling raises to try to impact the club and take us to a different level. And that's going to be very difficult. But also, it's a club that gives us very good conditions because of the support and the fan base. And it is the love that they've shown us in a very difficult moment. The last two weeks, 10 days have been very, very difficult. But people have galvanized us. They've supported us. Of course, they've shown us that they are unhappy with the result of Mas. But also at the same time, I think we've got to be optimistic. You know, I'm a person that's really always tries to be very positive. And optimistic doesn't mean forgetting where you are. We are in a good space. We could be in a better space. But compared to the beginning of the season where we were in a very difficult space, we are in a very good moment. And now is to push ourselves, to use some of the pain to push ourselves into a better moment. And that can only take trust, honesty, deep levels of commitment, and big levels of sacrifice. And these are the type of players sometimes we don't recognize, like Botola, for an example. In the last match against Tetuan, he had to play with an injection to the ankle. This is the players that this club deserves. That's the type of commitment that this club deserves. And truly anything less than that is a big injustice, very, very big injustice to the football club in a very important year. It is a very important year for the club. The Club World Cup is important, and the eyes of the world are on one of the biggest clubs on the African continent, and therefore every single time we wear the badge and the jersey, whether it's at training, whether it's in games, every time we have to do justice. And I am the first person to hold everybody accountable for that, including myself, and I'm very hard on myself. And so it's only fair that when I make big demands on myself, I can make big demands on the squad.